way Southwest Virginia tonight.
Oh, gosh.
Wise.
Cool.
All right, anybody else got any questions, comments from Mr. Warner? No? All right. Appearances before council, nobody's signed up this evening. Anybody wish to speak that's not on the agenda? No? Okay. Council comments, Mr. Updike, we'll start with you if you got anything.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here and those watching from streaming platforms. Along with LHS News, we had two wrestlers that placed fourth in the state tournament. Their girls team, this is the first year that they've had a girls wrestling team, and they all won at least one match, just outside of placing, but Coach Lucas is very impressed with the efforts and the output and production from both the men's and women's team. That's all I got.
I'd just like to say thank all of you for coming. But I'd like to ask council, have y'all rode around Bedford much? Have you just rode around the neighborhoods much and saw what's going on? It's been a lot of activity with people fixing their houses, cutting their trees. Have you seen that? I don't know what it is, but I sure hope it keeps fired up. and it's not the hilltop revitalization. These are people doing this themselves, but it's a wonderful thing to see. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. I think we need to go and see what's going on out there.
I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Appreciate everybody showing up, and thank you for being here.
I want to thank Dave McCormick for giving us a tour last Thursday on the middle school. I was very impressed with what it looked like this time as compared to what it looked like last time I was in there right after the fire. So I'm very pleased with what I saw. It was a short tour, about 30 minutes, but it's coming along. It's going to be delayed probably a little bit, but I'm happy as to what I saw and appreciate what he's doing.
I'll have to make the same comment in some ways. We had a really nice tour of the middle school. We didn't go into the Old Yeller. We were pretty much limited, but they did show us the third floor of the middle school, which I thought was there's going to be a mezzanine up there with a couple of apartments that look out on the Peaks of Otter. So
yeah.
And they're moving inside. They're putting the wiring in there, so forth in there, plumbing and all that. They still have a ways to go, but they'll get there, I believe. The new hotel, the hotel part of it, looks to be very interesting. Having they're going to turn the old gymnasium into a meeting area and restaurant area, which is kind of neat. Anybody's been in that building a long time ago will know it wasn't in the best of shape to start out with. So, other than that.
Well, I'll just thank everybody for being here also and for being with us online tonight.
Okay, I'll keep the Liberty High School theme going a little bit too. There were also, I believe, 3 or 4 swimmers that also placed in the state meet. So our student athletes in our community are representing as well, and they are all to be congratulated on their success. Also, unfortunately, I did not get to go to the tour, so because I was a little under the weather last week. But so anyway, I'm glad to hear things are progressing. I'd heard that through the grapevine. I'm glad to hear that y'all got to put your eyes on that, and I hated to have to miss that. I did have the occasion to attend the Central Virginia Business Coalition awards dinner last week, and one of our local businesses, Authors Jewelry, and Jim was awarded a leadership community service type award, and want to congratulate him. And our former Public Works Director, D.W. Lawhorn, was also awarded an award. So congratulations to those individuals. it was a nice occasion and good to see the business, some of the business community out there. Just a reminder a little bit for council member and for the community, because it is kind of an open meeting, Thursday night at 5:30. Any council member that's interested, I've kind of, it's a downtown parking meeting with a lot of the stakeholders, business owners, property owners, that are in downtown, just to try to stimulate some conversation about some of the parking issues downtown, and hopefully get some ideas on how we can reach some short-term solutions, what some long-term solutions is going to maybe look like. So that's 5:30 for any council member that would like to come at Thursday afternoon at 119 South Bridge Street, 119 venue at South Bridge Street, which is right next to Clam Diggers. So looking forward to that conversation with our downtown businesses, and we've got some people from the county coming as well. They're part of the hopefully part of the solution. So anyway, look forward to that conversation, and anybody can join us, please do. That's all I've got this evening. Next, report of council committees. Finance committee, but since last meeting.
We did have one, didn't we? Ooh. What was that about? I think we discussed revenue enhancement opportunities, and we brainstormed quite a number of things. And most of that will be forthcoming in the budget. So would be too many to list.
All right, any revisions to the agenda, any changes? No? Okay. With that, we'll go into our first public hearing, which is regards a quick claim of tax map number 19553A1D and 1955511-D to Michael Lee Arthur. Mr. Warner, if you could.
Pursuant to the appropriate sections of the Code of Virginia, the Town Council of the Town of Bedford, Virginia hereby advertises a public hearing at its regular meeting at 7 p.m. on February 27, 2024 in council chambers of the municipal building in order to hear public comment on a quitclaim of the town's interest, if any, in town tax map parcels 195-5-3-1-T and 195-5-1-1-T. One of the parcels is carried on the records of the Bedford County Commissioner of the Revenue in the name of the town. However, the town does not appear to have an interest in the property based on the county land records. A draft of a quitclaim deed, including a current plat of the property, has been on file in the office of the town manager in the municipal building, and written comments were solicited through February 22nd, 2024.
All right, with that, I'll open the public hearing. Would anybody wish to speak on this matter? No? Okay, with that, I'll close the public hearing. And we'll move into the second public hearing, which is a conveyance of easement to the D-Day Memorial. If you read that.
Pursuant to the appropriate sections of the Code of Virginia, the Town Council of the Town of Bedford, Virginia hereby announces its public hearing at its regular meeting at 7 p.m. on February 27, 2024 in council chambers of the municipal building in order to hear public comment on conveyance of permanent easements to the National D-Day Memorial Foundation to allow construction of and grading for a recreational pedestrian trail around the memorial. Upon discontinuation of the use, the easements would be abandoned. A draft of the deed of easement, including a scaled drawing of the easements on the property based on a survey, has been on file in the office of the town manager in the municipal building, and written comments have been solicited through February 22nd, 2024.
All right, I'll open the public hearing on the conveyance of an easement to the D-Day Memorial. Anybody wish to speak? Good to see you, April.
Hello, Mayor Black and members of council. I just want to thank you for consideration of this easement and for all of your support. We really appreciate it, and I'm just grateful for your consideration of this, and we're here if you have any questions. So thank you.
Thank you. No, right. Well, if we have any different action item, but probably not. Anybody else? No? All right, with that, I'll close the public hearing. All right, moving into the first agenda item, the Bedford Get-Together request for funding.
Bedford Get Together is sponsoring an art mural on the side of a privately owned building adjacent to Centertown Plaza. They have requested a contribution of $2,000 from the town to assist with materials and also to provide leverage for potential matching funds and grants. Tonight, Town Council is requested to authorize a one-time contribution of $2,000 to Bedford Get Together for assistance with their art mural proposal on South Bridge Street.
All right. Anybody want to make, Bill, any of y'all want to make any comments on it before we take a motion, or if not, just kind of, maybe if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of update on it, just so if there's any of us that aren't aware of what y'all are working on.
Thank you all. Bedford Get Together decided probably 8 months ago or so that we wanted to create a mural that would honor not only the Bedford boys, which everybody knows about Bedford, but all of the soldiers since then of all races that have also served. That we feel like there's a lot paid to the white soldiers of Bedford, males, but we kind of don't pay much attention, unfortunately, to the females and to the black citizens of this community who have served and made tremendous sacrifices, particularly in the war since World War II. We have permission from the building owner, which is Bob Wandry, or Stephen Wandry, for his building. We've got some photos that would show you if you'd like to see where it's going to go. We've raised some money so far. The biggest thing is we've got a grant application into AARP for approximately $10,500. And if we have support that we can show into that application that we've got support from the town, I think it'll go a long way toward our receiving that funding. And then we're beginning a fundraising campaign within the next week or two where we intend to approach the community at large and a number of businesses. So we hope to be able to get this completed, get it underway anyway in early spring to mid-spring and have it completed by the end of summer. We've got a call out to artists that we are submitting pretty much as we speak. So we hope to have a number of muralists on board to give us some great suggestions and plans on creating this. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Thank you for the update there.
Okay.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion from Councilman Haley. We have a second from Councilman Foreman. Any further discussion? Like I said, I appreciate y'all's efforts. You know, I think this is going to be a nice addition to our downtown area, and you know, so I look forward to seeing what y'all come up with, and would certainly support this.
You know, Mr. Mayor, I think you remember I've been talking about D-Day and how Bedford has to wrap itself around D-Day. It's a national monument. It's not going anywhere. And with the visitors that they bring in, things are beginning to go just like we thought they would. We're getting a hotel now that can keep some of these visitors here where they normally go to Roanoke and Lynchburg and bring them into downtown. I think that mural would only serve as another drawing card besides the building. I think that would, for tourists that's coming in, I think it would really help downtown. That mural would do that. So.
And I will say, I talked to Bill quite a bit at the Centerfest, sat down there for a while and got the full details of it. And I'm like Bob, I think it's going to be a great thing. Make the downtown area much more attractive, more eye-catching. But I appreciate you doing that.
I just want to say, I was sitting in the meeting when y'all first had your first meeting or whatever, and it was a great idea when you first came up with it, and I think it'll be an awesome thing to have downtown to show people and visitors what our town really means.
Yeah.
Anybody else? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman? Aye. Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, next item on the agenda is the real estate refund to Bedford Residents LLC. This is an old business item. Before we get, or Mike, do you have, before we get started, just to like, Patterson, Callie, I can't remember your last name, sorry about that. It's Holly. They reached out and we did set up a meeting, Mr. Lockby and myself, Ms. Cantrell met with them and Patrick Skelly and the gentleman that actually oversees the assessments. He gave us a really good explanation, went over it in a lot of detail, answered a lot of my questions on how, this assessment had changed. And so I think we came away, with the understanding that, it is what it is. And as happy as I can be with the fact that an assessment of a piece of property dropped that substantially, but, so I think, Mr. Lockby, if you need to chime in any as well, but I think we're, feel comfortable that we need to make this refund to Bedford Residents LLC.
No, Mr. Mayor, you said it all. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we refund the overpayment of real estate taxes to Bedford Residents LLC.
Second.
All right. So, Mr. Updike, yes. So any questions? Any questions for me or for Mike?
I would just say, I think we all just kind of wanted a little explanation as to how they arrived to that. I've never seen a property award quite that much, but we understand it and we accept it. And I appreciate you and Mike going well and finding that information out for us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they had a pretty good appraisal and, they went through it and there was no argument there.
yeah, good.
All right, so, any other questions, comments? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
Next item is the campaign finance and reporting. We kind of touched on that topic a little bit last time. Didn't know if people had more time to think about it, gotten any feedback. If we want to give Mr. Lockby direction to try to draft some type of ordinance, or if we think we just need to let that lie right now. So, any thoughts from anybody?
I'm kind of leaning towards some kind of draft from Mike to get us in the right direction, point us maybe where we need to be. But what do y'all think?
Can do.
I think doing the draft too, we're not going to vote on it tonight.
No.
but, we just need like to have a draft to see what direction we can go.
Correct.
Would that ordinance change also require public hearing, Mike? In that regard, or?
No, it just requires that you have, just requires the normal notice that you do the publication in public
Okay.
places that you normally would have to do for an ordinance.
Does anybody want to see any more,
I
see
think
at
it
least
would be
the
a
draft,
good
and
idea.
then we can debate whether
I
that's,
think we need to see a draft.
if there's an overriding desire not to proceed, let us know that too.
I think it would be a good idea,
Okay.
but to have
I think
something.
it goes along with
way to
just
do.
bringing government to the light of day,
Yeah.
frankly.
Okay. All right, let's just, Mike, if you can work on it, I don't think there's any real overriding rush on it, but, because I know we're giving you a lot to do, but,
It would be nice to get it done here in the next month or two so that it's not hitting Barbara Gunter at too
Right.
terrible of a time.
would there be a deadline if we did, and I'm not saying we will, but if we did pass this for it to take effect in this next election cycle, is there a deadline when we would have to put that ordinance in place?
Well, that's what I was thinking of. We're not having a primary for town council, so I don't need to worry about that, but I do want to make sure that it's in place before you all start really getting your petitions in.
Right, and people start, yes. Okay, all
When I
right.
say y'all, anybody,
Right,
assuming most of you
yeah,
all.
anybody that wants to be a candidate this fall for one of these seats. All right. Okay, next item is the real estate, no, I'm sorry, the request for contract extension from Waukesha Development. We got Mr. McCormick here by Zoom, so if we got any questions for him. Dave, can you hear us okay?
I can.
Okay, thank you for joining us tonight. So, any update or anything? So obviously, when does the performance agreement actually kind of run out right now? The end of March, is that correct?
The current terms of the end of March this year. The town EDA met a couple of weeks ago, and they passed a motion extending the terms of the performance agreement to January 1st, 2025 for the large main brick building, which is intended to be developed into apartments, and to April 1st, 2025 for the building affectionately known as Old Yellow, which will be converted into a boutique hotel.
Okay, so
Subject to approval by town council.
right. So we got two deadlines basically now instead of one joint deadline is the change basically that the EDA's. Is that the only change they proposed?
Well, that's the only one of
Okay.
which I'm aware of.
All right.
You have a question?
Discussion? Before we,
Can I ask
questions?
David?
Certainly.
What, you know what my problem has been all along is the security of the buildings in general. And what do you propose to do to make sure that we're secure? Additional lighting or, whatever, and maybe some cameras or something?
We had not proposed any cameras. Our intent is to just keep the building tightened up. We have, I told you, we have that garage fixed, which goes down to the concrete basement. But outside of that, we keep the building tight. We've been talking to the police about patrols. We have, the building otherwise is fenced on, 3 sides. I don't know what else would make you feel good about what we're doing there, but I don't know that we really have the ability to camera the building, in its entirety.
Dave, would a compromise be let the police department come and do a security site assessment and make some recommendations? See, there wouldn't be requirements, but just recommendations. If they saw something that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that.
Okay.
Dave, have there been any actual incidents that sparked this concern, or is it just people being concerned because they see people walking around there? Have you had any incidents at the site?
Not to my knowledge.
There have been some broken windows, so.
Dave, I just want to, these deadlines, are you pretty sure you're going to make those? I mean, we're still catching heat, but you're making substantial progress. I just, just want to make sure you feel really, really comfortable on these deadlines, because,
I hope the tour was helpful for everybody to see kind of where we are in the process. I feel like we are in a position to beat those deadlines, but they're conservative, and I think we're over the hump and relative to any delays. We know when everything's getting there. We're mostly roughed in and ready to insulate, which, typically if we were going to meet an end of the year deadline, we would be doing that much later in the year. So feel very good about it.
Okay. And I apologize, I couldn't make it last week. I was just, I don't know what hit me. Any other questions or concerns? So, Mr. Lockley, still in the current performance agreement, the deadline says, the project must be substantially complete. What is that definitely? I mean, that's a gray. That's a pretty gray, I guess. I mean, that's not having a CO, correct?
I don't recollect exactly what that is. Substantially complete is, and I'm very hesitant to go off the cuff.
Right.
Substantially complete generally means that the construction contractor has completed all of their work except for the punch list and has had inspections from the building inspector, had the final inspection from the building inspector.
Right.
There might still be things that the construction contractor needs to finish up in order for you to be ready to rent it. You might still have a couple of punches from the building official, but from the outside, it looks good to go. And
Right.
From the inside, it's pretty close. And by pretty close, again, there might be some fit and finish problems, but the building inspector is satisfied that if you do this, take care of the fit and finish problems, that it will be ready for CO.
Is there, Dave, would you have any heartburn to tighten that little gray area up any with these deadlines, or maybe defining what substantially complete means? Like I said, if it's a final inspection based on a punch list, I know a project this size, you're not going to pass every little thing on your final inspection. You're probably going to have to go back and fix a few things. You're going to have, you may have some landscaping you still got to, it's just the nature of a commercial construction like this that you're not going to, but I don't know if I want to get into the debate over what a substantially complete means, if there's a way we could define that with an actual metric. Does that make sense?
So we use the term substantially complete often when it comes to tax credit projects, and what we typically do is get a third-party architect to come in and just certify in some way that the project is, quote, substantially complete, which pretty much follows the description that Mike's using. It's really not that vague. I think there's there might be loose ends or punch items or whatever, but the majority of the construction is complete. I got to tell you, I don't know exactly what would meet the mark here, but I have to say the one person who wants to see this job get done more than any of you guys, me. I have no incentive to slow down or to keep racking up interest or doing anything here. So I want you to know that it's, our goal is to get done here as quickly as possible. So in terms of a definition, I don't know really how else to say it, but I do want you to know substantially complete is more than a vague term. It's actually used in the industry, right? With some architectural ways, and I think that's something that we could
we add that in there, that we would have that architectural review.
Have them, write you a letter or something, say, hey, that yes, that has happened.
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Zirkle actually just sent me the quote from the contract.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Zirkle. And it provides that substantially complete means that the Old Yellow and middle school structures are substantially complete. And I know that's circular, but I was using it in the sense that Dave was just talking about, that an architect would call it substantially complete. And able to obtain a final certificate of occupancy for the entire structures in the judgment of the chief building official for the town of Bedford.
Okay, so Gary could opine to us whether that it is substantial. If we're running up on this deadline, you know, for some reason, which I'm,
And it should be noted, there is a slight distinction there between, he doesn't necessarily have to have said, here's your CO. He has to be able to walk through and say, yeah, I could give this a CO.
yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so, you know, maybe that's the if we're running up on this deadline again, you know.
Yes, sir.
That would be what we could, you know, use as a kind of a measuring tool. Okay, thanks, Mary. All right. Are there any proposed additions to what the EDA did, or are we ready to, any other questions or discussion?
Somewhere around the September, October timeframe, could council be invited back to see what else has been done? Would that be something we could work out?
Dave, you think we'd be willing to have a tour maybe the first part of September just to see, you know, see once again that you know everything's looking good?
Look, I'm you know, conceptually not opposed to that, but I'm curious what, maybe this is a rhetorical question, what you might expect to see or what might trigger something at a meeting like that, right? Because we're still looking forward, we still would have, you know, 6-7 months on, I just want to make it worthwhile. These tours are, you know, doing that, taking the day to do it, it's you know, there's some effort there, so I just want to be sensitive to our team and the planning of something formal like that.
Or even back to, you know, the last meeting we had, we talked about getting some, you and Bart getting some written report, you know, written, is that still kind of going on, or you know, kind of every once in a while you just give Bart a heads up if you see something that's kind of.
Yeah, I'll speak of Dave and I speak at least on the order of once a month and usually once every couple of weeks, and I'll note that in my weekly reports to you.
Right.
So we'll continue to do that.
Yeah, I think something like that where, you know, Bart come in as a representative or something. I mean, I'm happy to do that. I'm there often and don't mind, you know, doing that. That would be, I think that's a great way to go about it.
All right. Basically, what I think we're even, I don't want to put words in you, but we just want to make sure if there's hiccups coming, we want to know about them well ahead of time.
As much in advance as we can.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you see something that's causing, that may cause you some further delay or anything that we know about that kind
And
of.
I'll report in greater detail on our conversations.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? All right, so somebody willing to make a motion to approve the request for the contract extension for Waukesha Development?
So moved.
So we have a motion from Councilman Carson, second from Vice Mayor Stanley. Any other discussion? No? Roll call?
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Reluctantly, aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Reluctantly, aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right. All right, thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, Sean.
Yes, sir. The next item, let's see here, is the quick claim of the tax map numbers 195.53A-1-T and 195-5-1-1-T to Michael, the author.
The tax map parcels described in the mayor are at the corner of Coral Street and Jackson Street. These are unbuilt parcels totaling .39 acres, more or less. Currently, 195-5-3-A1-T is carried in the name of the town of Bedford on the Bedford County Land Book. The Circuit Court land records, however, do not appear to indicate any conveyance of an ownership interest by the town. In order to remove any potential cloud on title, and in order for the Bedford County Commissioner of the Revenue to correct the land book, the current owner by the Circuit Court land records, Michael Lee Arthur, requests that the town quitclaim any right it may have in the lot to him. A form deed is enclosed with this action item. The Tonight, council is requested to authorize and direct the mayor to execute and deliver the attached deed with such final changes as may be necessary to fully effect the quitclaim. Further, to authorize the town attorney to prepare and the mayor to execute the necessary closing documents to effect the quitclaim of the property to Michael Lee Arthur.
I'll have a motion to approve the quitclaim.
So moved.
We got a motion by Councilman Haley, second by Councilman Carson. Any questions? Any questions? I got maybe one or two. And so this parcel obviously is not on the tax rolls right now. I mean, but it will be added to the existing parcel that Mr. Arthur owns, correct? It's not a developable lot as it stands, kind of at 0.39 acres. So it just increases.
It's also an odd-shaped lot. I don't think it would meet setbacks for any kind of primary structure.
Okay, so it would just basically add to his acreage on his. And
correct.
They'll fix that next reassessment.
So is this
Probably the way it wound up listed in our name was it was so small, there's nothing you could build on it. Nobody claimed it as theirs, so somebody said, all right, it's the town's.
is this a lot down there where the creek is?
No, this is farther up the hill from there, I think.
Okay.
All right.
It's a rhombus-shaped lot.
Any other questions for Mr. Lockby this morning? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Hill?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, next item is the conveyance of the easement to the D-Day Memorial.
The D-Day Memorial Foundation is in the process of constructing a recreational trail around the outside of the Overlord Circle cul-de-sac on tax map parcel 232-A-3-T. The path of the trail and grading for the trail encroaches on the town's surrounding property, tax map parcel 212-A-2-T, in some places as shown on the map enclosed with this action item. The D-Day Memorial Foundation has requested that the town grant it an easement for grading and minor path encroachments. A draft deed of easement is enclosed with this action item. The use of this property for a recreational trail to enhance the D-Day Memorial is consistent with the covenants on the property. Upon closure or abandonment of the trail, the easement would be abandoned to the town. Pursuant to the Recreational Use Law, Virginia Code Section 29.1-509, abandonment of the trail, the easement would be abandoned to the town. I'm sorry, that's the wrong line. Pursuant to the Recreational Use Law and the Recreational Use Sovereignty Immunity Law, I'm not going to read that section because that's where I got tripped up last time, the town has no liability for injuries suffered by the public for use of the trail. Tonight, Town Council is requested to authorize and direct the mayor to execute and deliver the attached deed with such final changes as may be necessary to fully convey the easement. Further, to authorize the town attorney to prepare and the mayor to execute the necessary closing documents to effect the conveyance of the easement to the National D-Day Memorial Foundation Limited.
All right, do we have a motion to convey the easement to the D-Day Memorial?
So moved.
One of those a second?
We got Councilman Haley, Councilman Johansson second. There's a race there. Any discussion, questions from Mr. Lockby? I know, appreciate y'all's patience. This has kind of been a back and forth on whether, which way, the best way to handle it from kind of a legal standpoint. Whether to do an easement, do a deed, or just an outright deed. I think this is worked out to be the best solution. It's a very small piece of parcel where it kind of, their plans or their actual part of construction, kind of came over on our little piece of land, and then and plans to build some of the others. So it's not a very substantial, tract of land. So. And their walking trail and everything is going to be another enhancement to the D-Day Memorial, and I have no issues at all with transferring this.
Glad we can help.
All right, any other comments, questions? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, next item is discussion of zoning for schools. I will, if you want, I can kind of start this discussion a little bit. Most all of us are aware, and our citizens are aware, the school board is looking to make some changes. And one of their options, I don't know if everybody got a copy of their options, but option 4 specifically deals with Bedford Elementary and Bedford Primary School. I read through these options as soon as I saw them, and immediately recognized there's some technical and some practical issues with their proposal, especially in regard to Bedford Primary School. Reading straight from their PowerPoint presentation, it says Bedford Primary will remain open as a preschool center and itinerant staff offices, early childhood education class from Susie Gibson Science and Technology Center, and as a technology storage and work facility. So I think just from a pure zoning standpoint, Bedford Primary is located in a R1 residential zoning district, and maybe most definitely offices and technology storage and work facility are not a permitted use in that zoning district. There is probably a question of whether a preschool center meets the definition of our school and our zoning, ordinance. And if it doesn't meet the definition of a school, that would be another kind of non-permissible use, I guess. It could be considered an early childhood education center, or a daycare facility, which they're also not permitted in R1. I believe they're permitted in R2 and the business district. Is that correct? B2, B1, B2, B1. So those are some major concerns with this option. Obviously, the community has other concerns with how they're looking to move students. I have in the past spoken with the chairman of the school board to make them aware of some of the growth in residential growth that's coming to this community. As everyone's aware, we've got 60 apartments under construction. We've got 130 units on independent single-family houses that we've approved. And there's some other substantial projects that are being discussed with our planning department, that are either by right or may need, rezoning that could lead to, a very large influx of residential units in our community. So this plan, by moving the 5th graders to the middle school and moving the 1st and 2nd graders to the elementary school, there's some flaws with that. Bedford Elementary School was built back in the day for four grades. It has 4 hallways. The school board in the past tried to put 5 grades in there when they moved the 2nd grade from the primary, and ended up being overcrowded, and they ended up having to temporarily move 6th graders into the middle school. So this plan says they would have, they wouldn't be in capacity, they'd have room for 39 students. Well, obviously they're not hearing the planning and the growth that's coming to our community. And I hope, they'll hear from us, and I don't know if what our next steps are. Obviously we need to discuss it tonight, but I just don't see this as a viable option for the students in our community. With that, I'll kind of, Todd, we'll just go around the room if anybody wants to add any further comments or.
No, I agree, and they need to check to make sure that before they make this decision on zoning, because they have to get the change before they can do it, so it's something they're gonna have to look at before they make this decision. I agree with you, I'm not a fan of moving students. I'm not a fan of having 5th graders in middle school or 8th graders in high school, but I'm not part of that school board, so I can't make that decision, but well, we can make a decision when it's on the zoning of the building.
I'll just ditto that because I'm married to a school teacher, so guess what? She thinks it's a bad idea. And she was teaching 30 years, so she basically said putting 8th graders in the high school and putting moving 6th graders to middle school. 5th graders. Yeah, it's not. I'll leave it go with that. I've already made my people mad at me tonight, so I'll just keep going.
I agree with you, Mayor, that this is a bad idea. I think they're closing Huddleston Elementary, I believe. Stewartsville, yes. So, you know, but it's very short-term planning is what this boils down to, and that when Bedford Elementary was built, it should have been built for more students. But I will say, when I was at Liberty, the 8th grade was out there, so it could handle it then with, I think we had 1,300 students at the time, but at the time it blended in well. But I went 5 years there. But the overall plan with the primary school, I don't like it. I would like to see what we can do to discuss it. And I know our town attorney has said a few things, so I would be interested in what else we can do.
I would agree with everyone that's spoken on this matter. You know, Bedford Primary is a main, it's been here for a long time, and I mean, a lot of kids has gone from that school. And, you know, several years ago, they tried to shut the school down then or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're planning, I think they need to look into more options or into more ideas instead of trying to do this. And like I said, we have our zoning and that. I mean, we pretty much could stop it if we wanted to.
I'm against closing schools, period. I've always been against closing schools. I think the ones that's hurt by that is the kids. And I think what they're planning now is it's not only it's going to affect 2 schools, the middle school and the elementary school. The elementary school, like you said, they're going to be overcrowded. They're going to be overcrowded. Sending the 5th grade, that's not a good idea. Putting offices over there, that's definitely not a good idea. If you need more offices, you got enough land bill, you can put some offices. We don't need to close the school in the first place, but like I said, I don't have anything to do with that, but if you look around, it's happening all over the place. There's Pittsburgh, that's out there in out there in Manila, not Manila, you know what I'm talking about. I just think that somewhere along the line, we have to consider what it's doing to the kids. Then, excuse me, you have teachers now, the teachers now have a different attitude about their jobs. They love their jobs, and they're doing what they can. But the school board has got the teachers to the point where they know the school board is not really concerned with teachers. It's more concerned with parents. So a lot of teachers that you have now, they're marking time until they can walk away. The others are there constantly looking to see if they can find something else that they can move into, because that's the way they feel. But they're doing their job. They're doing a great job. Now, what do you think is going to happen if you overwhelm them with these overcrowded classrooms? You know, I just think it's a bad idea. I don't know what people are thinking, to be honest with you, and they can quote me up there on it. I think the school board that we have is not doing anything for the schools or the teachers, and I don't care whether they like it or not. They are not doing anything. It seems too much politics, and then you got some that seem like they can't open their mouth at all, you know? So, I mean, maybe I need to shut up, but I just think that's a bad idea. I really do.
What was the program from the technology center you're going to move to?
Yeah, that was about the only kind of positive I did see. You know, they were going to move the early childhood education class over there to help educate and train future, you know, educators in the preschool. And you know, they were going to maybe look to expand the preschool opportunity. The chairman of the school board this morning on the radio said about 2 classes, you know, so we're not talking a substantial increase there. You know, here's some other parts about the preschool. Right now, with it being in tied in with the school, they have access to a PE teacher, an art teacher, a music teacher, you know, a school nurse. If they just make this just a pre-K center, they're not required to provide those services to those, you know, those. So because these programs are funded by the state or Head Start, you know, either through federal funding, the Head Start program, or what's called VPI, I think it is, Virginia Preschool Initiative. You know, if they're not tied in with a school, and actually in with a school that's, you know, got these other resources, you know, these kids are, you know, and of course we all know, you know, they talked about building the gym probably for the 5th or 6th, I don't know how many, I've lost count of how many times they promised to build the gym at Bedford Primary School. You know, and this is another move to not have to do that, you know, I mean, the preschool program is vital to this community. I mean, it helps our most challenged and young, you know, younger people that need that help. So obviously, but I think that should almost be like an ancillary use to the school. And that may be something we want to look at from a zoning ordinance kind of standpoint too. Is, you know, okay, if you're going to have a preschool program, it's got to be almost like an ancillary use to a school instead of a standalone use, especially in R1.
Right.
It might be a compromise from a zoning standpoint.
You know, I can see a value with having those vocational students wanting to work in that type of environment there with the students day in and day out. But the ripple effect, there's just too many other things that just...
The cons outweigh the pros.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And they probably could do that. I don't know how many students they have in that program, but there might be a way they can incorporate that and get them in that school anyway. You know, and would probably be a good thing for them to maybe consider how they could incorporate those classes into, you know, some hands-on.
So we're back to them making an investment in the primary school?
Of course, that's what I would love to see. So, I mean, is this information, Mike or Mary, or I mean, should we formally remind them of this in some fashion? I mean, I'm sure they're going to get it through the newspaper in the morning, but I mean, or do we wait and see how they respond?
I'll weigh in. I think it would be appropriate for the zoning administrator to issue an advisory statement to the superintendent.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, just to.
I know that was done about 10 years ago previously by a previous zoning administrator.
Is that a consensus that we should do that? Everybody?
I can give you
All right.
that for me.
All right. Any further discussion on that issue? All right, thank y'all. Next item, last item is a resolution. No, I'm sorry. No, we're not. We got all kinds of stuff on page 2.
We want that. You want to go?
All right, Mary, Bart, the resolution to accept the USDA grant application for downtown strategic plan.
Town staff has been working with a firm that specializes in consulting with local governments for development and business attraction in commercial areas. They have identified a grant from the United States Department of Agriculture through the Rural Business Development Grant Program that can pay for planning services through an enterprise fund. The firm has developed a framework of a strategic plan process that involves a community workshop and market analysis that will be used to create a strategic plan. The town last had a market analysis performed in 2018 as part of the school-to-school Bridge Street revitalization plan. The current proposed strategic plan can be used to inform the upcoming work of the comprehensive plan revision. The grant amount would not be more than $50,000. The town would still need to procure a consultant to conduct the downtown strategic plan if the grant is awarded. Certain assurances and forms must be signed and included as part of the application submittal, as well as authorization to submit the grant. The town attorney has reviewed required forms related to this federal grant request. Tonight, town council is requested to adopt the attached resolution authorizing the town manager to sign the required assurance forms and to also authorize the grant application.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Haley. Second by Councilman Foreman. Any questions for Bart or for Mary? Mary, you're one working on this grant, correct? I have one. Will this grant incorporate any kind of infrastructure planning, or is that they won't take any look at that, or that would have to be some kind of separate process? Okay. This is more about just business attraction. Okay.
And we're just applying for this. We don't know if we'll get it or not. But if we do, then we've still got to turn around and hire a consultant. So I guess I'm curious, how did this work out in 2018? I mean, what were the results of it?
The 2018 process was basically the school-to-school plan, and that was, well, I'd say it was almost in-house effort in conjunction with Hill Studio as our consultant.
Arnett Goldrow did the market analysis. It was a full drive area radius assessment.
That had a little more infrastructure type.
Well, I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out in that, okay, yeah. What does a consultant cost, or do we know?
$50,000.
Okay.
Out of the grant.
Out of the grant, okay. That's where I was, yeah, I thought that's what it was. I hate to ask. Okay, yeah, whatever.
I'll do it for half.
When we talk about assurances, help me out. What are we talking about?
Just that we will procure the consultant appropriately, that we will meet federal laws, and we will, there's several guidelines that go along with probably every federal program, such as the subcontractors involved. We just basically agree to comply with all the rules of the federal grant.
So in the firm that we're using currently for development and business attraction, they don't do the consulting for downtown strategic planning? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Oh, Mary.
Good evening, members of council. This is just to procure a consultant. If we get a grant, we would then have the funds to go out and procure one. So the consultant has been advising on how to apply for the grant. So they've given us a framework of what their idea would be of a strategic plan. So I'll be working from that and making sure it's generic enough that we will be taking that out for a bid. So a consultant would have no more than $50,000 available to them to conduct a downtown strategic plan with a 5-year vision of what would we like to do. The big thing that would allow us to have is a workshop that would pull together everyone who wants to talk about the downtown area. And the timing of this is great because of our comprehensive plan that the RFP just went out on today. that this would be one of the components we would use it for. So it has broader applicability than just a plan that's going to, again, sit on a shelf. So what I liked about this plan was this particular consultant did have a market analysis in there, because the 2018 data is very dated now. It did do a drive radius of 15 minutes and 30 minutes to say what our market is, to tell us what we're losing to other markets beyond that. So we just need to, number one, update that for that, taking into account where we are post-pandemic. My intent with this application is not for infrastructure, because we're going to look at something else for that issue that we want to talk about with a planning grant, we believe. This is more enabling the businesses that we have to grow and also to attract others, because the second part of that, of course, is business attraction.
So this would kind of give us an idea of what the market or what kind of businesses would be interested in coming downtown.
Correct.
Okay.
That would be one component of it, with the market analysis.
Okay. I'm good.
Any other questions for Mary?
And the assurances, to get to your point, Mr. Updike, there are federal forms that have to be signed, and they're all, we did it back in 2019 when we had the revolving loan fund too, that just, we swear that we're going to abide by what Mr. Warner said. There's some environmental things that we would sign off and say would not apply to us, but they're just standard forms that have to be submitted.
All right, we had a motion, we had a motion, second, yeah, so any other discussion, questions? All right, roll call.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, next item is the resolution for a FEMA grant, generators at Bedford Memorial Hospital.
Town Council adopted the Central Virginia Hazard Mitigation Plan in March 2021. Inclusion in that plan makes the town eligible for FEMA grants to mitigate certain hazards and infrastructure needs. One of the identified critical needs in the plan was for generators and ancillary improvements for emergency power at Central Bedford Memorial Hospital. Working with the Virginia Department of Energy Management, the town applied for a grant through the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program in 2020. In July 2023, Town Council authorized staff to sign required assurances and forms to finalize the application submittal. At that time, Council passed a resolution for the forms and reserved future action for executing any agreement or expending funds if an award was made. The town was given formal notice of a FEMA grant award in January 2024 for 90% of the project cost. The project cost of the generator project is $4,648,860. The town will be a pass-through of the grant funds and will pay those back to the hospital based on documented expenditures. The hospital is committed to paying the local share of the grant match, while VDEM will pay the state match. The town electric department will be providing the transformer. With the grant award, council will need to accept the grant, authorize staff to sign the agreement with the VDEM from FEMA, and to sign the agreement drafted for the arrangement between the town as grant subrecipient and the hospital as the grant beneficiary. At a future meeting, council will need to adjust the town budget to include the amount of the grant that will pass through as expenses and as revenue. Tonight, town council is requested to adopt the attached resolution accepting the FEMA grant and authorizing the town manager to sign the required agreements with VDEM and Bedford Memorial Hospital.
Okay, we have a motion to. So moved. Councilman Hanson.
Second.
Councilman Updike. You got it. All right, any questions for, I mean, this is just the next step of what we did previously.
So, one question, you said that the town electric will provide the transformers.
Yes.
That's all they're gonna put in there, there'll be an outside agency that installs the generators or something like that, or outside,
As far as the actual installation, that'll be determined through the electric department.
Okay, I didn't know if it was gonna be an outside, contractor or something, that's what I'm saying.
And I don't know either. It may be, but that'll be done under standard operating procedure.
I imagine part of it will have to hook up to a degree.
Right.
Will this project replace the current generator, backup generator that they have?
I don't think so. I think it does it, well, I know it does provide redundancy in service as well.
Yes, so this, it will replace the 1940s vintage
Oh, okay.
generator with 2 new ones that will power both the hospital and part of Oakwood. And there will be redundancy added that will create a loop around the hospital. So that is part of what the town electric department is bringing to the table, is to create redundancy for when there is an outage with a 2-way feed.
But the generators they have now is only, if it was an outage, it serves certain sections of the hospital, but these generators will serve the entire
Yes.
building.
Is there any value in the existing generator that could be repurposed somewhere else, either?
That's a hospital asset. I wouldn't know how to, how that, they may be able to use that elsewhere or sell it for scrap. I don't.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, probably scrap.
Don't know.
Museum.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of nice copper wire in there.
We'll check into it.
Yeah. Couple wire.
It's supposed to check, several times a month, so I know that, when I was here, that it was operational. Anytime they had an issue, it kicked on like it was supposed to. So,
Yeah, we'll check into it.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments? This is another good thing, to support the hospital, which is, that's vital to this community. It's a great asset, and I'm glad we were able to support them in this project, so it's good stuff. All right. Roll call.
Mr. Carson?
All right,
Mr. Foreman?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Johannesson?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mr. Updike?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
Now the last item on the agenda. So it's a resolution celebrating the centennial of the Bedford Rotary Club. You want me to just read the proclamation?
Sure.
All right, so I'll just, I'm going to read the resolution on behalf of the council here. Celebration of the centennial anniversary of the Rotary Club of Bedford, Virginia. Whereas the Rotary Club of Bedford, Virginia was chartered at the National Elks Home on May 10th, 1924, with 22 local members and more than 100 visiting Rotarians from Lynchburg, Roanoke, and other cities, and has since played a crucial role in fostering community development, humanitarian service, and international understanding. Whereas the Rotary Club of Bedford has consistently demonstrated a commitment to the principles of service above self, contributing significantly to upkeep and beautification of roads, parks, and schools, including gaining public support in the early years for construction of Virginia highways. Whereas over the past 100 years, the Rotary Club of Bedford has been a beacon of inspiration, bringing positive change to the lives of countless individuals and making a lasting impact on the town. Whereas the members of the Rotary Club of Bedford, both past and present, have dedicated time, talents, and resources to projects of painting, cleaning, serving youth and adults, building peace and reconciliation to a village in Rwanda, distributing backpacks to Bedford County students, funding wheelchairs for those in poverty, building little free libraries and a 9-hole disc golf course for local students, and providing annual STEM Academy scholarships for Liberty High School students. Whereas the members of the Rotary Club of Bedford have dedicated countless hours to eradicating polio, both by holding clinics in the 1950s in Bedford to protect local children and raising more than $75,000 since the 1990s to contribute to Rotary's international effort to save 2.5 billion children from the crippling disease in 122 countries. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council of Bedford, Virginia hereby extends its heartfelt congratulations to the Rotary Club of Bedford on the occasion of its 100th anniversary. Further resolved that the Town Council expresses its deepest gratitude to the members of the Rotary Club of Bedford for their unwavering commitment to the betterment of our community. Further resolved that this resolution be presented to the Rotary Club of Bedford as a token of the town's appreciation for a century of outstanding service and community leadership. So, congratulations, Bedford Rotary Club, on that accomplishment, and thank you for everything you do for our community. All right, with that, we are adjourned.
All right.